Hey, welcome back to my channel. And Happy New Year! So, as I mentioned at the end of my last video, I was planning on starting an Alphabet Platinum Challenge, and that's just what I did. As far as the structure of it, I've modeled it after John Callum's video, so go watch it. It's a great video, it's super entertaining and fun, and inspired me to do this whole thing. So how he did it was that he platinumed each game in reverse alphabetical order so that by the end it's all in order on the trophy list. As far as rules go, I'm not going to be limiting myself too much, except shovelware. I'm not going to be playing shovelware. You know, those $1 or $2 games that take like half an hour to beat and it's not much of a game. I want this to be a clean enough list that it's, you know, fun to watch and or at least for me to talk about. And generally speaking, I'm not going to be putting a time limit on it because I feel like that'd be too much pressure, and I'm sort of new to all of these, you know, trophy challenges and all that, and I don't want to ruin the experience for myself. So, as far as where we're at so far, and yes, I've already started, is with Zombie. So Zombie, fun fact for those who didn't know, it's a game from 2012, but it actually initially came out as Zombie U because it came out as a launch title for the Wii U, which is very interesting. This is also a Ubisoft game, one of their, you know, smaller studios, and it shows. As in, it's pretty well made. Anyway, Zombie was pretty fun and pretty straightforward. It took about, 30 hours. And PSN Profiles, which, for those who don't know, is sort of the one-stop shop for trophy hunters and the like, because it shows all the, trophy statistics, and there's a lot of trophy guides, which help me out a lot. So on PSN Profiles, they set it at about a 6 out of 10 difficulty, which, pretty fitting. And it took about 3 playthroughs to beat. Well, it took 3 playthroughs to beat. Anyway, so Zombie was a pretty good time. The atmosphere is great. The music is great. Just the general vibe, because you're trudging through a foggy, dingy, post-apocalyptic London. They really captured that vibe, and it really added a lot to the experience, especially as you navigate these labyrinthine maps and worry about zombies jumping out at you, and it's all freaky, and it's textbook survival horror. And as far as the mechanics go, the combat, it's solid, and honestly, it is janky in certain respects, but honestly, that really, it fits the vibe of survival horror, because in a lot of games like Resident Evil or Silent Hill, you're supposed to be just, janky enough at combat where, there's tension and you have to worry about it, and at the same time as worrying about everything else. Also similar to those games is the fact that there's an inventory system where you have a limited amount of inventory space, and you have to juggle around ammo and healing items and all that stuff. And it became annoying at times, but, that's sort of part of the game. As far as the trophies go, they were, pretty straightforward. Stuff like, the story trophies and getting kills with specific weapons, or that kind of stuff, and like completion trophies of each game mode, number of zombie kills, that kind of thing. And yeah, generally speaking, it was pretty approachable. Though, the one part of it which sort of brought it down is the fact that you had to play through it 3 times. Because there are most of the time when it comes to video games with difficulty modes, once you beat the hardest difficulty, you unlock the rest of them. They're all linked, so that theoretically you could just play a game once on the hardest difficulty and not have to play through it all 3 times. But in this case, you had to. And honestly, it wasn't too bad because the game itself is pretty short, and if you know what you're doing, is pretty good. So as far as the playthroughs themselves, so first you play it on, what they call here chicken mode. Which is their name for the easy mode. And honestly, this was the hardest playthrough for me because, it's the first playthrough, figuring stuff out and dying way too many times, which brings me to another very interesting part about this game is that, your character can die. And by that I mean when the survivor you play as dies, they are permanently dead and you switch over to another generic survivor. And what's interesting is that you can get the inventory you had on that dead character back by going back to where you died and either coming across your corpse or a zombified version of your previous character, which you then have to beat the crap out of. Which honestly reminds me of Dark Souls, which that's a cliche to say, oh, it's just like Dark Souls, but, a corpse run mechanic. It was pretty fun. And the normal playthrough was pretty much a similar experience, but getting better progressively, than experience. And yes, zombies took longer to kill on the normal than on the easy, but pretty approachable. And also during this part, I got most of the trophies, including the collectibles, which weren't too crazy. Maybe about, 16 collectibles, where you have to scan these CCTV boxes. I believe the trophy is, CCTV is watching you. I'm pretty sure that's all the collectibles there. Yeah. So honestly, as far as collectibles go, perfect, wonderful. So by the end of all of the normal playthrough, I had done pretty much everything. So then that brought me on to the survivor mode playthrough. And, I honestly liked it more than any other mode. So the survivor mode, the whole gimmick there is that it's a one life, and then permadeath, you have to restart the game. But I had a workaround because I have, through PS Plus, access to, how would I say this? Backup saves. So I would download my save, and then once I eventually died, I would re-download that save and then continue the life. And that's technically cheating, but it also made the game a lot smoother and a lot more fun to play because you weren't necessarily afraid of dying if you were careful about saving at the right spots. And that was just a really fun experience. Do I have anything else here? Oh yeah, the zombies themselves. Yeah, I wrote notes here about the zombie types and the one zombie type that caused me the most trouble. So on the normal gameplay modes, which is the chicken normal mode playthrough, you have the regular zombies, armored zombies with like riot gear that you have to beat up a little bit extra. There's zombies that spit at you, and there's these weird, I don't know what's with the supernatural aspect of this game, but you had to there's these like weird ghost techno zombies, which was weird. And then you had the exploding zombies, which killed me more than anything else on the normal playthroughs. On the Survivor playthrough, it was these weird glowing black and red zombies. They were present in the normal playthrough, but I was less afraid of them because on the Survivor mode, or maybe they did this on the normal mode, they basically insta-killed you. And that was not great. Anyway, so after completing the Survivor playthrough, that got me the platinum. And overall, this was a great, solid first game of the Platinum Alphabet Challenge. So yeah, next up, why? Ah, that's the platinum. That's the platinum. Alright, so now we're at Y, and for Y, I platinumed yet another Zombie Defense HD. So after Zombie, which was, a pretty significant playthrough and challenge, I decided to take it easy for the next game, and yeah, this is definitely easy. This was pretty approachable, a very arcadey kind of, barely above shovelware kind of game, where you're in this like square arena and have to fight off hordes of zombies and all that, and like thematically appropriate with the previous games, zombie games. But yeah, there's not really too much to say about this one. It's just, it was a pretty easy plat. Maybe a couple things here and there about like the jankiness of it, where you had to like, hit a certain amount of zombies with like a laser weapon at the same time, and you had to line the horde of zombies up, and it sort of got annoying in some places, and but it really wasn't all that bad. Yeah, not really too much to say about this one. Yeah, no, that's why. So that concludes part one of my series on the Platinum Alphabet Challenge. As far as a concluding word about these two games, well, Zombie was great. I heard about it back when it came out in the Wii U. Zombies in London and all that stuff, but I never expected to like it this much, and it was great. As far as yet another Zombie Defense, well, after a game like Zombie, it was a nice palate cleanser. Just nice and easy. A little bit of challenge, just enough to, count for this list. So as far as the next two games, which, if my alphabet knowledge of knowing what orders, what order letters are, don't fail me, I believe it is X and W. X I've already done, but I will be pairing it together with W, which I'm currently working on. And you'll see that despite on the surface seeming like very different games, they have a lot in common, which I'll be touching on when I complete W in maybe the next few days. So, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you want to keep up with it. Like if you liked it, or don't, that's okay. And make sure to check out John Callum's video. I'll probably keep calling it out because it's a solid video that inspired me to do this. Which he himself was inspired by Mystic and his challenges, which, he's a, pillar in the trophy hunting community. So I don't really need to, shout him out, though, give him the respect he deserves. Anyway, so that's Sam Sphinx signing off. Thanks for watching.